Good morning. It is currently 20 to 8. Please keep feeding, darling. We're at that stage now where we get distracted by anything. I can't really talk while I'm feeding him, but it is 20 to 8. Little man actually woke up a bit earlier today. He woke up at 5:45, kind of cried out one time, and then rolled back over to sleep again. So I didn't end up getting up to feed him at that point. He just went back to sleep on his own. But he's now woken up again and finally feeding off this very, very, very full boob. Mummy is very grateful that you're draining that boob now. So today we are doing 24 hours with a 6-month-old, and I genuinely cannot believe I have a 6-month-old. You've done half a trip around the sun, my love. Just like, how? How are we here already? It's just crazy. Anyway, today we have currently quite a busy day. Who knows what will happen or what will change. As it stands right now, I have a health visitor coming in about 2 hours' time to weigh Oren again, and I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that he's put on enough weight. I think I've talked about this in the last video, but we've been battling a bit with weight recently. I have now started taking some medication to boost my milk supply. That's not sucking my boob, that's sucking your finger. I have now started taking some medication to boost my supply. Which seems to have helped. I've definitely noticed I've been pumping a bit more, and my breasts definitely feel fuller like in the morning, and he seems to be more satisfied after meals, so that's good. And then he's still having his high calorie formula, so fingers crossed everything should be good today with that. Then at lunchtime I actually have something kind of exciting. I have my dad and one of his friends coming over to look at potentially building a breakfast bar for me, which is really exciting, something I've wanted for ages. And then later this afternoon I've got coffee with a friend. So hopefully everything goes to plan, but we will see. Right now I'm going to stop talking because this little one is not latching properly, and I really want him to drain this boob because it's quite full. Good morning. Is he big now? Today's video is also sponsored by HelloFresh, and we'll have more about them later on in the video. So the first thing I need to do this morning actually is try on Oren's onesie, which actually wasn't bought for him. It's something I had from when I was fostering, but we are going to Norway next week. We're going on a Norwegian cruise, which is really exciting. And I need to make sure he's got some kind of waterproof onesie that he fits. So we're going to try this on, and fingers crossed it fits. Oh. Pardon you. Fingers crossed it fits, because I haven't got any others at the moment, so I need to buy a new one if it doesn't. But he really does need an all-in-one that's waterproof, I think, for this holiday. So let's try this on. It's 3 to 6 months, but even though he's not a heavy 6-month-old, he's quite a long one. So hopefully he still gets in this. Hello, starfish. Yep, it fits. No problem at all. I can't believe this is 3 to 6 months. You'd never fit in this at 3 months, would you? Would you? No. Still big on him even at 6 months, but that's great. Means we can take it on holiday. Good job, monkey. So this is typically like the calmest part of the day. It's 8:15 now. This is the first time when I've got up, Oren's up. I'm still in my pyjamas. He's in his pyjamas too. He will probably have a nap in around 45 minutes, I reckon. Maybe a little bit sooner than that. He's currently playing on the floor over here. I've got my laptop. This is the calmest part of the day for us. It's the time I'm most likely to be able to get just a bit of time to myself, to watch some YouTube videos or some Netflix or something, and maybe go and check out my social media and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of my calm time of the day. He's normally a little bit happier than this. I think this is just because the camera's on. But he's so active now. I put him down on this mat, facing the other way around, and he's already rolled over. So we are very active now, my darling, aren't we? You're moving everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, just going to have this little time to myself, have my breakfast, then probably be nap time, I think, quite soon after that. The baby is sleeping. The downside to being in a smallish flat is that I have to keep my voice down when he's sleeping, because even though he's on literally the furthest from away from me right now, if I talk too loud it could wake him up, and it's just not worth it. So you're just going to have to put up with my voice level changing a bit throughout this video, I'm afraid. So it's just coming up to 9:15 now. I think the health visitor is coming at 10:30, which, unless he decides to do a super long nap, should be fine. Sometimes it's so random, like he can do, I'd say he typically does about a 30 to 40 minute nap in the morning, and then, but occasionally we'll do like 2 hours. And there's no kind of rhyme or reason to it. But generally speaking, his naps are still like not so great at napping during the day, but better at night. He's really good at night. Generally speaking, he's still in the routine of being like good at night and being tricky to put down for naps in the day. But like I said in the last video, I will take a baby who sleeps well at night over one that naps in the day any day of the week. I did, however, get given the little rocket machine by my mum. I've been like debating whether or not to get it for ages, and then she was finally like, I'm fed up with you debating about this, I'm gonna get you one and just see if it works. So she bought it for me, and I finally had a chance to try it out on Sunday when I was having a picnic with some of my mum friends. We were outside, it was Oren's nap time. He never goes down to sleep, like just sitting in his pushchair with it rocking. I had to actually actively like get up and walk him around and push him until he fell asleep. But normally, if I stopped pushing him and just like left the pushchair somewhere nearby, he would wake up within 5 minutes. Like, he would never stay asleep. But this time I put the rocket on the pushchair and he stayed asleep for another, I think, 20 to 30 minutes. And I was just like, oh my God. He has never done that. I don't think he even did that as a newborn. Or maybe when he was a really, really tiny baby, he did it. But since he like hit 6 weeks, definitely not. He is a very tricky baby to get sleep and keep asleep during the day unless he is in his cot at home. So I'm really hoping that I have found another way to get him to nap when out and about. So I might get a chance to try it this afternoon when I go out and see my friend, depending on what we do and depending on like the time we meet up and everything. But yeah, so that is promising. But right now I'm going to make the most of my naps. I'm sitting here looking at some laundry that needs to be put away. This drying rack has been here for literally like 2 days now, I think. And there were still some bits last night that weren't dry because I had a bit of a blitz last night. I'm not sure if you can really tell. Probably still looks kind of messy, but it was chaos here yesterday. And honestly, last night after I put Oren to bed, I was like, I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to have to tidy up. Partly because the guy who's coming to see if he can do my breakfast bar, hopefully he's coming today, and I needed to clear the kitchen island for that, or at least clear it up a little bit. But also the mess was just really getting to me. So I did a really good blitz for like 20 minutes last night, cleared the kitchen out, cleared the dining room table a bit more. And I was going to put this laundry away, but it still wasn't dry. So I think I might just have a look and see how that's doing now. I generally try to only do that when he's awake and use his sleep times as times that are specifically for me. But he's a little bit tricky at the moment with like not wanting to be put down and stuff at times. And also we've got a busy day today. So I think I might see if that laundry is dry yet and then put it away now and then have some me time. We just woke up from our nap, didn't you? It is now currently like just 10:05. You had a good nap actually. That was about 50 minutes, I'd say, of sleeping. Good job, darling. So now we're just waiting for the health visitor to come, probably in about 20 minutes. And I guess we're just going to chill before then. Oh, actually, maybe we should get dressed first. Probably a good idea. So Oren's just having another feed right now. I'm a little bit kind of anxious because my dad only told me yesterday about his friend who's a carpenter coming today, which is amazing and great, but he hasn't given me a time specifically for this cup that they're going to come to measure up in my flat. And I obviously need to be here while they do that so I can tell him exactly what I'm after and everything. And like I said, it's amazing, but I've already got this commitment with my friend to have coffee this afternoon, and I've already moved her to another time and said, you know, I'm really sorry, could we do this time instead? But I still haven't had the confirmation about what time my dad's coming, and I can't keep her hanging. I can't like just be like, oh, at some point today I'll see you. So I feel a bit bad about that, but you know, I'm kind of torn as to what to do because I really need to see this friend. Like, we need to meet up. Hello. That's not feeding. You know, I know these coffees are really important to both of us because they're times that we get out and we get to talk about like our motherhood journeys, etc. So I do really want to see her, but I'm like, I don't know what to do with these timings. So anyway, I've been chasing my dad all morning. I'm hoping he'll soon get back to me with a time because otherwise I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm kind of on the like, oh, okay. Oh, thank you. That's really helping. Thank you. He spends his life blowing bubbles at the moment, and that's our newest skill we've gained. Of course, literally after I filmed that last section, my dad has texted me to say that his friend can't actually come today, so that at least has solved one of the problems. He's going to hopefully come over tomorrow. That does actually make the load a little bit lighter today, so that's probably quite good. So I'm going to message my friend now, see what time she can do, and in the meantime, we've got about 10 minutes before the health visitor gets here. I have at least managed to get the clothes off of the clothes rack into the washing basket, so now I only need to actually get them put away, which may or may not take another day at the rate I've been going recently, but we're making progress. On that note of washing though, however, I have realised that my period just finished about a couple of days ago, so I've got 2 bags of pads that need washing, so I think I need to put them on soon. Actually, I might do that now. Bottle time! So it's now 5 to 11, the health has just been. We've had good news with his weight. Finally, it's the most he's ever put on. So it seems like the combination of me taking this medication to boost my breast milk and him having a slightly higher dose of this high-calorie formula is working, finally. It's taken a long time to try and find the balance and get that right, but hopefully now we're on the right path. So I'm just, yeah, I feel like I'm saying I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a lot of stuff in this video, but this is probably the thing I'm most keeping my fingers crossed about, is that he continues to go with this good progress. Because we want healthy, happy boys, don't we? I finally managed to sort out the timings with my friends, so we're going to meet up at about 12:30 in the local town, so that's all good. So for the time being, we're just going to have this bottle, and then I think I might have a little bit of like lunch or slash brunch for me before we go, and then it'll be time to get on our way. Actually, the other thing I've got to do is message the dietitian that we're under and let her know the results from today, and then I've also got to message the lactation consultant who prescribed me the medication to boost my milk supply and let her know as well. And I've also just had to ring the local pharmacy because, as I said, this milk that Orion's on is now prescribed, and it's not one that seems to be given out very commonly because none of the local pharmacies or any local pharmacies anywhere near me have it in stock ready to go. It's one that they have to order in and get in. And I realised that we currently have, after today's bottle, we've got another 6 bottles of this formula left, but we're going on a cruise this Saturday, so we're going to need formula for every day we're out there. So I've had to get some, or ask the GP to send another prescription through, so I can get it ordered in. But it didn't seem to come through yesterday, and I'm on like, oh gosh, it's Tuesday now. I have to have picked it up by Friday because obviously we go on Saturday. I won't have time to pick it up on that day. So the medical admin behind doing all of this is stuff that I keep forgetting because I obviously had to do this when I had Lyme and stuff. But it's all these extra bits you have to think of when you've got something that's kind of a bit different, or that you're having to juggle with any kind of, whether it's a medical issue or a weight issue or whatever it is. Babies that have some sort of additional need, there's all this additional workload that I'm kind of conscious that other mums are maybe not necessarily dealing with at the moment. So I think it's important to sort of share that as well, that if you are somebody who's in the boat of you've got something different you're having to manage, this is just my bit that I'm having to do that's a bit different. Somebody else might have another bit of workload in a different way that they're having to juggle, whether it's reflux or poor sleep or whatever it is. This is just my one. So I kind of wanted to share that here, that behind the scenes I've got all these other bits I've got to do to kind of keep on top of what's going on, and yeah, just got to see through that. But the fact that he has done so well as weight is a really good indication that we're on the right track now, so it's really exciting. We are a bit of a grumpy baby right now, so I think we're going to head off to meet our friend a little bit earlier than we originally planned. I know. I think he might be tired as well, so hopefully might have a bit of a nap either on the way there or when we get there. But either way, getting moving is usually the best thing to distract him when he gets like this. So I think we're going to head off. Should we go see our friends? Yeah, let's do that. See yourself. So it's 3:15 now. We got back about 10-15 minutes ago. I am knackered. Like, we didn't really do that much today. We had something to eat, something to drink, then walked along the river for a bit. But oh my goodness, my feet are killing me. I clearly am not as fit as I used to be. But I have been doing a lot of walking recently, so don't know why that is. Yeah, anyway, I am feeling pretty knackered. This one did have a little bit of a sleep when we were walking, but I don't think it was more than like 15 minutes max, if that, to be honest. So I wouldn't be surprised if he needs another nap a little bit later on, because there's no way that he's going to last. I mean, he was up at 2:30, there's no way he's going to last until 6:30 now, so you will need another nap at some point. He's also been a little bit more clingy today. I'm wondering if he's, I wonder if he's teething, as he's literally chewing on his toes, but he does this all the time. I am wondering if he's maybe teething or slightly under the weather, because he's just not quite as happy today with like playing or doing anything unless I'm holding him, so we might have to have a bit of a snuggly afternoon, huh? Actually, I'm debating whether or not to try and replug the TV in, because believe it or not, this television that I have here, when I was pregnant and I was staying at my parents' house, my parents very kindly like helped to repaint the entire flat, and by helped I mean they did it all and I sat on the sofa as a useless lump during that time. So obviously they redid everything and they put it all back together, but they didn't plug in the TV, and I just haven't bothered to plug it back in since I've got back here with Oren. And it hasn't really been an issue for me because I don't really watch television on my TV, I watch it on my laptop. But Oren is now getting to a point where kind of CBeebies and like baby shows are sort of interesting him, so it might actually help me for times like this where I'm feeling a bit tired to get some time to myself just by putting CBeebies on for a bit. So I'm thinking I might see if I can plug that in now. I don't think it should take too long. It just like is a massive wires that is putting me off actually sorting it out. So maybe Mummy should stop being silly and should go and do them. What do you think? What do you think? I feel ridiculous. This took me literally 1 minute to fix. I don't know why I thought it was so complicated. I think the last time that I had this plugged in, I had an old DVD player underneath, and so there were extra cables, but I didn't even need to like use this complicated box thing. I just had to plug them into the wall. That was really stupid. I could have done that any time in the last few weeks. Anyway, let's hope CBeebies does its job. Oh god, it is 4 o'clock now. I've just put Oren down for a nap, so I'm hoping that he'll have a good 20-30 minute nap. He definitely didn't have enough earlier. I could see like he didn't stay asleep long enough, so he definitely needed this extra little catch up. He doesn't usually sleep for very long in the afternoon, but if by any chance he does, the latest I will let him sleep until is 5:30. Highly doubt he's going to do that, but it has sometimes happened where he slept longer than I thought he would. So the latest he can sleep till is 5:30, because that is the latest I can let him sleep to still go to bed at 6:30 as usual time. In the meantime, I am feeling very peckish and I feel like something sweet, so I'm going to go and raid my cupboard and see what I have. While Oren is sleeping, I will just talk to you a little bit about the breakfast bar that I mentioned. Again, I have to keep my voice down. I'm sorry, I can't risk waking him up. But basically, so this is my kitchen. Truthfully, I don't love it. Like, it's a cream colour and this dark wood faux laminate top. It's not really my vibe, but to get the whole thing replaced, I've had a quote to have, I think I had a quote to have like the doors refitted and also to have them just recovered with a different kind of material, and just to see what the cost was, and it's still like in the thousands for both, so it just isn't worth it to get that and the tabletops redone, particularly at the moment with cost of living and everything and being on maternity leave. So that was ruled out. But one of the other reasons I wanted to get it done is not just because the colour is not to my liking, it's also because this island really annoys me. I mean, obviously my kitchen is really usable, it's actually not that old, so again, another reason it didn't make sense to get it redone. But the thing that has always bugged me about this island is, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little lip on the edge here. It sticks out this far, but it's not far enough to have like some bar stools here and make it a breakfast bar. So I'm like, why didn't you just put, there's a longer version of this top that they could have used, which would have made it a breakfast bar, and I'm kind of like, why didn't the previous owners go for that? Like, why didn't they just make it a breakfast bar from the beginning? But apparently they didn't want to do that. I, however, think it's possibly the only thing about this flat that bugs me a bit. I said the colour of the kitchen, not my style, but I can perfectly well deal with it. But I really feel like I'm missing out on not having a breakfast bar here, because often if I'm in the kitchen and I've got guests over, particularly if I have them over when Oren's gone to bed, like we're trying to keep our voices down, my kitchen's at this end of the room, my living room is down that end, so we can't really talk to each other down here. So people basically end up like standing here and just like chatting to me in the kitchen, but they're just kind of hovering because there's nowhere for them to sit. So if they sit down here at the dining room table, they're quite a way away still, so just the layout doesn't really work. So then I have been watching a lot of a series on BBC iPlayer called Your Home Made Perfect, and it really inspired me to try and find a solution for this breakfast bar issue. My arm is dropping off, so I'm going to go and sit down with my Oreos and tell you the rest of the story. Oh gosh, you'd think having a baby and constantly picking them up, my arm muscles would be a bit stronger by now. Anyway, so I've been watching this series called Your Home Made Perfect, where they basically like do virtual reality to show people who want to change like their home's layouts drastically what two different architects' version of what they do to the house would be, and it's really cool. Really been enjoying watching it. And the truth is, like, the layout of my flat is pretty good, but like I said, it inspired me to change this breakfast bar design. And so initially my plan with doing that was to first of all see if I could just get the countertops in my kitchen changed, because I thought, well, I don't really like the dark wood, I'm not really keen on the cream colour of the cabinets either, but I think if I just changed the tops to a different type, that might be better, might make it a bit lighter and something I like a little bit more. And also I could possibly change the cabinets a bit later on if I wanted to. However, could not find a single company that would just do the kitchen tops, because they have like a minimum amount that they will go out to do a job for, and just doing countertops doesn't meet that. So again, I'd have to do the whole kitchen, which, as I said, is too expensive. So I took that out of the equation. That also took out of the equation the idea of trying to find just the longer version of that particular countertop and install it on, so that I only had to replace one countertop to keep the costs down. But I'm reluctant to do that with like a countertop colour that I don't really like, so that ruled that out as well. But then I had a bit of a brainwave. So basically there's currently this style of breakfast bar, I'll put a picture here, where you put like a wooden extension on the island, and I thought that could work with my kitchen, because I can just basically make a sort of wooden extension, a one-legged extension that attaches to the wall at one end and goes over the edge at the other, and that would just enable me to have my little breakfast bar area and put 2 stools under at one end and some storage down the other, and then I would have that breakfast bar that I've always wanted. So anyway, that is what I am currently trying to get done. Initially my thinking was to do like a cheap version with some sawn timber that I could find and maybe treat a bit to make it kind of more longer lasting and resistant to stains and stuff. However, my dad happens to have a friend who is good at carpentry, and he said that he could probably recommend like the best wood to do it, and use some countertop wood countertop stuff that they have, and they can make it into that. So I was like, listen, if you know someone that knows how to do this properly, I'm very happy to hand it over to them. But I'm so keen to get this done, and I've been really hoping that they're going to come soon, so I would love it if they does actually come tomorrow and help us measure up for this so I can get it done. But yeah, I'm really excited about this actually. I haven't done like a proper project in my flat for a long time, other than like repainting a wall or something. So I'm really hopeful that this will turn out cool, and I think it could also, you know, add some quirkiness to my kitchen. That's my current like design plans, but trying to keep the costs down to a minimum with it. I just think it might actually be something that works and look quite cool. So we will see how that turns out. Well, look who woke up. So he did really well actually. He had about a 45-minute nap, which is a really good length of time for him. I'm often lucky if I can get half an hour out of him, so to do 45 minutes this late in the day is actually really good. It should also mean actually that he is fine going to bed at his usual time, so that's good too. As you can see, somebody here is very independent and wants to hold their own bottle. I'm just giving him the rest of the formula now. He has to have like a certain amount each day, and I basically split it into 2 bottles. So he has some of it as a top-up after feeds earlier in the day, because my milk supply is definitely better in the morning. And then he has this full bottle as a feed later in the afternoon. Luckily, Oren has always been really good at taking a bottle. I've never had an issue with getting him onto one, so I've never had to worry about that. And I think that's partly because he's had bottles since he was, you know, a newborn. He didn't have them for a period of time where I was just breastfeeding, but actually no, that's not true, because if my parents had him for me for a day, or when I like started taking my kit days, then they would also give him a bottle. So I guess he's always kind of had a bottle occasionally, and that's probably been what's helped him to be good at taking a bottle too. That is one thing I'd recommend if you are planning to bottle feed your child at some point in the future. It might be good to try them out with one when they're younger, just to see how they go. This one here is the MAM bottle, and they've been really good for us so far, but he also takes the Avent natural style too. As he's 6 months now, he has also just started to wean. So we're doing kind of like baby-led weaning at the moment, where basically you don't give them anything pureed, you just kind of give them whole foods. I would probably give him some, like, maybe not pureed, but at least like mashed up, like stuff, spoon-fed stuff at some point in the future. But for now, his dietitian has recommended that he just has like finger foods, and he doesn't need to be eating much, it's just more about playing with them and stuff. So that's what he's doing. But as you might have seen today, I set a brilliant example for him by giving him some Leon waffles. Potato waffles, I might add. Probably not the best thing to be giving a baby, but I was like, he looks so keen, let's give it a try. And actually he did really well with them, because I've been a little bit concerned because he had some potato, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and he ended up gagging on it quite a lot, which is completely normal, but it made him very sick. Like, he threw up quite a bit afterwards. And since then, he hasn't really been that interested when he's been given food and like putting it to his mouth. He just sort of plays with it, but he doesn't try and pick it up. But today he did, he put it in his mouth, so I'm really relieved to see that. So maybe the waffle was magic and it did that for him and encouraged him to start tasting things again too. But I've basically left it very low pressure. We just sit him in the high chair, give him some food to play with and see what he does with it. I don't try and encourage him to do anything with it for the time being. And he's doing okay. I think he's doing okay. So we will see how that goes. But right now, this is where his main calorie is coming from. Boobs and bottle. Who's that? I have a very grizzly baby at the moment, and I'm not sure why. I think, yeah, I know. I think he might be tired, but not even like CBeebies would distract him. The camera is apparently distracting you, like this. It's 5:30 and I've got another 45 minutes before I even need to get him ready for bed. Yeah, I know. Oh, pardon you. So, not entirely sure how distracting is going to go until then, but yeah. Grizzly, oh, looking very tired. Oh, this could be fun. Oh, so while I try and entertain this monkey before bedtime, I thought I would start thinking about dinner and what I'm going to cook tonight, which leads me perfectly onto this section, talking about today's sponsor, HelloFresh. So HelloFresh is a great way to take the stress out of meal planning for your family. It has been an absolute lifesaver for me recently with this little monkey. Yeah, honestly, without HelloFresh, I don't know how many actual like sit down freshly cooked meals I would be having at the moment, because I just do not have the mental power to plan like meal prep at the beginning of the week and think, okay, we're going to have this on this day and this on that day, and then write a shopping list and go do the shopping, get all the ingredients prepared, etc, etc. But HelloFresh takes that stress out of my life. The other thing that I really love about HelloFresh is the variety of meal choices that you get. You only have to go online, you can select from a variety of menu options and pick things that you, in my case I like to pick things that I know I will eat, but I would never normally like try and cook myself. So for example, the two meals that I'm planning to pick from today are either the oven-baked bacon and mushroom risotto. I love risotto, but I never ever cook it at home. And also the All-American, which is a bacon cheeseburger, stovetop mac and cheese and salad. Oh, you like the sound of that one? Which both sound amazing and are both things that I would never have made on their own without HelloFresh. So thank you HelloFresh for that, and also thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. So if you're a new parent like me, or maybe you're just someone who's really bad at meal prepping or remembering to buy ingredients in, or you want to get into cooking more but you're limited on time, I really highly recommend you give HelloFresh a go. Like I said, it's been a lifesaver for me in these early months with this little monkey. I have a special discount code for you guys, which is on the screen right now. If you use that code, you can get 60% off your first box, plus 25% off your next 2 months worth of boxes. Yeah, Oren thinks it's amazing. 25% off your next 2 months worth of boxes, and you also get some free gifts as well. So you can get that by using my discount code, which is on the screen. I'll also leave it in the description box for you guys, and you can also scan this QR code to get it too. They're also about to launch a new super quick range of food, which is ready in just 15 minutes, which I'm definitely looking forward to trying with an impatient one like this one. I think this evening I'm going to go for the oven-baked bacon and mushroom risotto. I've actually had this recipe before and I know I like it, so it's definitely going to be a win tonight. So I'm going to get round to making that once this little monkey has gone to bed in a little bit. But in the meantime, be sure to check out HelloFresh, and once again, thank you HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Somebody has just done a massive poo right before it's bedtime, so I think that we're going to go get changed and go to bed a little bit earlier today, because I can't be asked to change his nappy once and then change it again another 15 minutes, so I think it's bedtime. It is 7:20 now. I think Oren went down to sleep almost an hour ago actually now. I've just finished preparing and getting the food ready. I put it in the oven so it's cooking now, ready for my dinner in a little bit. And I'm currently watching a YouTube video, which is actually an old Channel 4 documentary, I think, about like inside London's Mayfair mansion and about the process of building it and stuff, which I really like these shows, obviously, as I've been watching the Your Home Made Perfect stuff, which I've pretty much finished now. I didn't want to film right after he'd gone to bed, because even when I've put him down, he's sometimes a little bit like tosses and turns a bit until he's fallen into a deep sleep, and I didn't want to risk waking him up with my voice, so I left it for a little bit of time while I just did some cooking, settled down for a bit, and had some time to get myself together and for him to drop off into a deeper sleep before I started talking again. But now that he is down, he should, if he follows a pattern he's been following for ages, sleep through until around 7-8 o'clock in the morning. Although last night he did wake up, as I said, about 5:30, I think. Just briefly, I heard him cry out, but he settled himself, so I didn't need to get up. And yeah, he went back to sleep, but that's very odd for him. He doesn't usually do that, so hoping that tonight he will sleep all the way through. Dinner time. So it is currently about 8:30, and around half an hour ago, Oren actually woke up again, which is quite unusual for him. He doesn't normally do that anymore. In the early days when he was kind of just coming out of his newborn phase, he used to kind of go down around 6:37 and then wake up about an hour later. But he hasn't done that for quite some time now. But I remembered he did do this a couple of times in one evening about a week or two ago. And again, very out of character, and I couldn't work out what was going on. But then, when I was eating my dinner when this happened, I thought, well, I'll finish my dinner and then I'll go and see him if he still hasn't settled, which he hadn't. So I went in, I picked him up and I fed him. And while I was sat in there, I realised that we've got some new people who are renting the flat above us now, and they have it's a dad and a teenage son, and the teenager is clearly playing games, because I can hear him, like, not necessarily shouting, but kind of talking very loudly, or every now and then exclaiming about something he's doing. And this, I think, happened the other time when Orion did this, so he's waking up because he can hear the teenage boy upstairs. Oh, it's really tricky as well, because I really don't want to be that neighbour that's messaging like, could you please tell your child to keep the noise down, because I know that Orion probably makes a lot of noise at times too, but he can't help it. Anyway, for the time being, he's not being too loud at the moment, and what I've done is I've turned up the white noise machine in Orion's room as well. It's currently playing like ocean waves, that's his favourite thing at the moment, so I've turned that up so that it's a little bit louder and hopefully will kind of counteract any noise. And I think I did this last time as well, and another night when I noticed that he was a little bit louder, so praying that he stays asleep. Yeah, this is one of the annoying things about living in a flat, but other than that, it kind of fits all our needs, so yeah, just one of those things you've got to put up with from time to time. Of course, literally after I just said that, they then started making a lot more noise. I think he's got a friend over as well. I'm going to see if the louder white noise keeps Orion asleep, but if he wakes up again, I think I'm going to have to send a message, because it's just, yeah, it's not fair, particularly to him, to keep waking him up from the noise. So yeah, hopefully he stays asleep. On another note, however, because I'm currently filming today, this is actually one of my kit days, and I've got some video footage that I need to edit. So when I'm working on a day like this, usually if I've got like a full kit day where Orion's with my mum and I'm just recording videos, sat down in my home and then editing them, I will do that during the time that he's with her, and then I'll go pick him up, bring him back, put him to bed, and then work in the evening as well. Obviously today it's been a day when I've had him. We've been filming a day in the life, and so I am going to still work. Obviously couldn't work in the day because I had him, but I'm going to try and get a little bit of work done this evening just to make my life a bit easier going forwards, because I have actually got quite a few trips away coming up, which is very exciting. But we've got a Norwegian cruise next week, which will actually have been the previous bit by the time you watch this video. I've got a Norwegian cruise coming up, and then I'm back for like 7 nights, and then I'm away again for 7 days in Greece. So it's really busy at the moment, and that's just unplanned because one is a family holiday and one is a holiday that I'm going on with some other solo mum friends and our babies, which should be really nice. But it does mean that I've got to cram as much work into like my kit days beforehand as I possibly can, because I'm going to have like two weeks essentially separated off over the next period of time, but that's okay. So I'm going to try and get as much work done tonight as I can, to hopefully make things a bit easier for myself going forwards. It is 9:30. I've done a little bit of work, but not as much as I probably should have done. It took me a bit longer to figure out some like audio stuff than I initially planned, but it's okay because I've actually realised I've got another kit day coming up before this particular video needs to go out, and so I can use that day to edit it as well. So I'm just going to go easy on myself now because I actually feel like having a bath tonight. I'm a bit like hot and sweaty from the day. It was really warm walking along the river earlier, so I just feel like having a nice chilled out bath could be exactly what I need before I need to pump and then go to bed. Continuing on from the theme of the last vlog I did, however, where I mentioned which non-fiction book I'm currently reading, I haven't actually quite finished that Danish, or the Dutch way of parenting, can't remember which one it is. There's a Danish book on parenting and a Dutch book on parenting that I'm reading/read, so I always get the two mixed up. But I have realised whilst I've read it, actually, that it's clearly written in like the early 2010s, and some of the stuff just isn't kind of as relevant now, so I'm kind of skimming through the last bit of it just to sort of get through it. But I'm nearly done with it, and then I've actually already started this book. My next book to read is Humankind, and it's a hopeful history, and it sort of talks about like how would your life and view of the world change if you knew people were good. So it kind of goes through all these positive stories about humanity over the years, which I figured was a really good book to have, particularly because I'm now a parent. I want to feel like I haven't made a terrible decision bringing a child into the world now, and feeling like, I mean, I've always felt like there is more good in human beings than we appreciate, but it's always nice to read stories about them. But also because all the other books I've read recently have been parenting based, and actually the other book I've got, The other non-fiction book I've got to read next is How to Raise a Global Citizen. So I just feel like I want to read a book that's not specifically child-related beforehand and just kind of space them out. I think I'll kind of alternate between like just books that are generally thought-provoking and books that have like a parenting aspect to them as well, and kind of go one then the other, just to kind of not feel like I'm out reading myself with when it comes to parenting stuff. I mean, I read this stuff for enjoyment, just to kind of see different viewpoints and different ways that people do things, more than I read them as like an actual guide to how to raise a child. But I just like to, I think I need to spice it up a bit. So yeah, Humankind is the book I'm currently on. I've literally read like 3 pages of the prologue. And so far, it's a story that is about the Blitz, and I've already read this in another book that I've read before, which I can't remember which one that is, because I've read quite a lot of non-fiction books at this point. But anyway, I guess it's inevitable that, you know, there is going to be some overlap between these books. But either way, I do really like this story, so I'm curious to see how this goes. But yeah, this is my current book that I'm reading. As I said, haven't read enough of it to let you know yet what I think of it, but that's what we'll do. But yeah, if you've maybe read it, let me know what your thoughts are, and I will probably let you know my thoughts in next month's vlog when I've hopefully read a bit more of this. Definitely going to take this on holiday with me and hope that I actually get some time to read it. Guess who completely forgot that earlier today they put on a wash load of cloth pads that have just been sitting there all afternoon. Oh, I don't think I can really be asked to put these out on the dryer. Actually, they need to go through the dryer for a bit, so I think I might just stick them in there for a bit longer, be lazy. I just went through them really quickly and had a little look just to make sure there were no like really obvious stains on any of the pads that I needed to take out and treat, because you definitely do not want to tumble dry any pads with bad stains on them. It's going to make it much harder to get those stains out, but it looks like they washed quite well, which is good. Even though my period is definitely much heavier now than it used to be before I had Oren, it doesn't seem to have made any difference to my wash routine that I need to do with my pads, so that's really good. The one thing I did grab out though was the wet bag, because I don't want to put this through a tumble dryer. If I can avoid it, it'll damage the PUL in it. So yeah, I've just put them in for an hour and a half. It won't get them completely dry, but it'll dry them out enough that I think I can just put them on the line tomorrow and they'll be alright to stay in there overnight, because I am going to have this bath. It's 10 to 10 now, by the way. I'm going to have this bath and then I need to pump, and then I think I'm going to go straight to bed. It is currently 10:15-ish, and it's time to do some pumping. Because Oren woke up earlier, I probably won't get as much as I usually do, because he fed off. I fed him to sleep that time as well, so he had another feed around 8 o'clock-ish, I think. So it's only been like 2 hours since he last had that feed, so that boob I imagine will be a little bit lower in its stocks at the moment. Also, while I was in the bath just now, I heard him cry out again, but it was just one cry. It wasn't like, he didn't persistently cry, he settled on his own. I was already in the bath, so I couldn't really do much at that point. But I listened out and he stopped crying after one, like, sort of mournful, and then he was fine. So I don't think he woke up. Yeah, I can see he's, on the monitor I can see he's settled again, so I'm really hoping that that's it for the evening. Usually the crew upstairs do settle down now, so I don't know if it was the louder white noise machine that helped him resettle again, or if it was something else that woke him up. I didn't hear the guys upstairs, but I was in the bathroom and I can't always hear as well from there, so who knows. Hopefully with it coming up to kind of like 10:30 they'll settle down a bit. Anyway, I'm about to put on a very interesting contraption to pump. I am currently in my night bra, which is basically just 2 vests that I kind of cut short so they finish just under my bust line, and then I've stuck 2 breast pads on the inside to catch my flow overnight, because now that I'm taking the medication to boost my milk supply, I wake up in the morning and my boobs are really full again, which is great because it means there's lots of milk for Oren to drink, but it does mean they leak a lot, so I can only use the disposables at night now. But these alone, unfortunately, won't hold my pumps in place, so what I'm going to do is wear the bra that I was wearing earlier, which is just a kind of soft sloggy, put this over the top, and hopefully I will be able to put the pumps in, excuse the washing machine, put the pumps in, and they'll be able to be held in place by this. But let's give it a try. It seems to be holding it in place. Let's do the other boob. Very interesting contraption for night pumping, but let's go. I'm going to do around 15 minutes, I think, and then I will head off to bed. Okay, well, I got, you know, a little bit of milk from that pumping session. I've noticed that my left breast has stopped responding to pumps as well. It doesn't matter which kind I use. Like, I put my Spectra on the other day, and like I barely got any like even drips from this one, and I could feel my breast was still quite solid. This one responds to it, like it was spraying out into the, you know, the pump. But this one wouldn't, even when I had to consciously squeeze it to do it. And so I was like trying to do they're called breast compressions while I was pumping today as well. But even when I take these pumps off, I noticed that this one, if I like try and hand express the last bit, it's just drips. Whereas this one, like it's full on like squirting out. So it's a little bit annoying that it stopped doing that. And it seems to do it with all my pumps. Like I've got 4 different pumps, one manual one and I've got 5 different pumps. Oh god, honestly, I really need to get around to doing like my breastfeeding video because that will explain why I have so many pumps. But yeah, I have 2 like hands-free pumps like this. I have a manual pump and I have 2 different types of kind of like the more traditional suction pumps. One is the Spectra that I'm borrowing from a friend, and one is my Medela. So I have like some really good pumps as well, but like all of them, it does the same thing for. So it's just something to do with my breast has suddenly changed. It was doing fine, it did used to pump fine, but now it's like, can't be bothered. Anyway, I'm gonna go and put this milk that I have managed to pump in the fridge. Just coming up to 11 PM and I've decided I'm going to go to bed now. Even though I was aiming to go to bed earlier, it just didn't quite happen. Best of intentions every night, but I just love this kind of like alone time to myself. So I always end up staying up too late. How many mums can relate? Orin hasn't stirred again since, so I'm hoping that the guys upstairs are now calming down. I've risked turning down the white noise machine in his room. It's really great that I have this like app where you can't see. I have an app basically that can control the white noise / nightlight in his room. I don't really use the nightlight aspect of it that much anymore. When I was going in the night to feed him I was, but now that he doesn't typically wake up, famous last words, knock on wood. Oh yeah, this is a British thing by the way. If you want to say knock on wood, you knock on your head. Somebody asked me why I did that the other day, something we do in Britain. So I've just turned his white noise machine down to just under the 20% mark, because when I walked back into my room just now I could hear his white noise machine and I decided it was actually a bit on the loud side. So I've just turned it down a bit now. With any luck, those boys will now have settled down and we will all get a good night's sleep. So hopefully see you in the morning at a reasonable hour. So it is about 8:15 in the morning. I can just hear Orin starting to stir next door, so I'm gonna go quickly pee and then pick him up and bring him in for a feed. So just given Orin his first feed of the day, just changed his bottom as well, obviously, before we came here, because after a full night of sleep, that nappy needs changing. But yeah, that is 24 hours in my life with a 6-month-old. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm currently really enjoying 6 months. He's definitely getting to the point where he's sort of sitting up a little bit more, like in his chair, playing with his toys more too, although he's getting a bit more restless about being put down at the moment, so maybe this is kind of coming into a more needy stage. I'm not sure yet. Obviously we're just starting to try food, so he's not really eating properly, so it'll be interesting to see in a month's time where we're at with that. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Do please subscribe, and of course a big thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Let me guys know what you think in the comments about it, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye everyone, have a great day. Orin would say bye too, but he's far too preoccupied.